Finally, time for the next step, the planting. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hi, my name is Rose, my pronouns are she, her, and today's video is part 2 of my terrarium build series. If you haven't seen the first, check it here, so you can see how I made the background and everything and how I picked up the terrarium. In this part, I'm gonna put in the bottom soil and we're gonna start planting all the plants on the back wall as well as on the bottom. This video is sponsored by plants.com. There's also some other companies that sent me products for free, which I will mention in the video. And it's really helpful if you already give this video a thumbs up and subscribe below to stay on top of all the updates about the terrarium if you're interested. Let's get going. Thank you. It's time to put the soil in because I actually did a few things that I didn't show you yet. Hold on. This is the root fabric, I guess, that's gonna make sure that there's no soil going through down to the bottom, the drainage layer. And then here I made a little thingy so that if I want to create a waterfall, which I really do want to do, if you haven't seen Benji's video yet, it's amazing. I kind of want to create a waterfall here or maybe a bit higher. First, I'm going to put a layer of this horticultural charcoal. All of these, again, are sponsored, I hope you can hear me, are sponsored by orchids.nl, where you can get, this is actually the first place in Holland where you can buy horticultural charcoal. So that's awesome. I got several bags from them since it's such a big project. And these are kind of meant to hopefully clean any water that gets through or micro stuff. So I don't exactly know how much I'm gonna put of this, but I have about 4 little baggies for this big piece. And I actually also mix this into my soil normally, but just little bits. For the soil, I have this leftover from yesterday. I do want to mix a little bit more and also make it wet before I throw it in so that I don't have to water it right away. This is mostly tree fern fiber with bark and horticultural charcoal. I'm gonna put some more bark in and maybe also some moss that I have here, sphagnum moss that I get from them as well. And then maybe some just soil. I'm not quite sure about that part yet. I was actually not planning to put perlite in, but I grossly underestimated how much stuff I needed for the bottom, and I still had perlite and some extra bark, so I'm throwing that in now. I actually threw everything I had for materials in there, perlite, bark, even some ceramics mix, because I didn't have enough. Now that there's soil in, it's time to start playing around with the different sticks that I have. I actually already love it the way it is right now, so I'm not quite sure how many of the branches and lianas I will be using. My friend Sandra actually bought some beautiful lianas for me. I love these, especially because in all the little edges you can pot little like miniature orchids and ferns and mosses and stuff. So I would love to have this in there somehow. Let me know in the comments if you would leave it like this or put branches in, which I will show you of course in a moment. Let's just start trying it out. I'm struggling a little bit because here we have Matt the Metallicum, which is still sitting in a pot. I want him to be up high so that I can use the piece of cork as a pot around him, but how do I heighten him up and remove him from the pot at the same time? And then the other thing is the branches, which are I'm still not sure about. I don't want to block the plants too much, but I do want to have a space to plant the little plants on. There's just a lot to think about. The heating, I'm not sure how to get this warm enough. There's so many different things to think about that I'm kind of just standing here looking at it and not doing anything sometimes. Okay, I think I figured it out. I used a lot more soil with perlite. Unfortunately, I don't have any more bark. And then some stones as well to lift the plant up enough to sit in this piece. I want it to look like a fallen log. And then there's a natural hole here, but I plan to make a few more little holes and plant some mosses and plants to grow out of there. I'm a little bit worried that there is not enough space for a future leaf to come out because it is quite pressed in the corner there. but we'll have to wait and see. I did also notice that my queen leaf is very, very floppy right now. Maybe because I didn't water it yesterday when I potted her up, but I'm a little bit worried. I hope she's gonna be okay. Oh, and the branches, that's why I started filming. I think I'm gonna do the branches like this. So a friend advised me to use more horizontal lines. So that's what I've been doing. That's it for today. I feel like it's enough. I've done a lot. It's dark. I'm very dirty and smelly. High time for a shower, and I'm gonna be back tomorrow probably.
1 week later.
I've put a lot of plants in here that I haven't potted up yet, but just to let them acclimate. I also bought quite a few new plants, some peperomias and a little begonia. Something else I noticed, Forgetti is growing quite well. There's a new leaf on the way. Queen Cleo's leaf has hardened again. It was very floppy a few days ago because it was dehydrated. And there's a new root right there. Plus, Reggie, beautiful Regal, also has several roots coming out already. So seems like the plants are quite happy. Here's that begonia I was talking about. Cleopatriae or something. I put a Micans in here. I put my little Monstera siltibacana in here. Put my Brandtianum in here. All the little terrarium plants. I got some mosses in to test out from Terra Ted, which is a Dutch web shop for terrariums. So we're gonna test out if they do well in here. We just installed the new light, but we quickly want to show you the difference. So this is the LED temporary light that we had in there. Now my boyfriend is gonna switch them. This is the new light. It's much more subtle and also a little bit warmer, which I actually love for this place, for in the house, because it doesn't feel so cold. And it's installed right behind here, so it doesn't show as much as previously. And we can still rotate it to aim a little bit to the back, but then also to the bottom. So I'm super, super excited. It's actually nicely product placemented in there, not on purpose. But yay! We're working on some more places for the plants to sit in the back wall, and I'm realizing that it is super hard to do now that the back wall is already finished. So I definitely recommend doing this before and getting these nice pieces of bark and stuff in cork, this is cork, into the wall while you create it and not afterwards. All my plans actually didn't work, so in the end we screwed this one onto the beam with a little bit of iron wire as well, which is kind of ugly, but okay. And then this one as well is just hanging with some wire where I can plant hopefully 2 more anthuriums. This one is open from the bottom, so I used some fish wire. You can see it nicely here with the light to close the bottom off. So we're gonna put some moss in there. Finally. Whew, I didn't film the process because it's been such an annoying process. I just wanted to get it done. This is the silver blush is on this side, and on this side I put the luxuriance something hybrid. And I'm trying to angle them a little bit forward, but I am sure that with the light coming from the front, they will also adjust themselves. Hold on, let me just let Maggie out. Yes, it is a mess here. I'm not sure which one to put at the top yet because I think it will be too bright. Let me know what you think. I'm also thinking maybe an orchid because they can take more light. I got some new orchids, and or one of those because they can take a lot of light. I decided to put the Villanorum in there. I think it will look quite cool from the top. Actually, it worked really well with the potting. I'm very happy about that. Let's move it inside. It's not ideal up there. You can't really see the Villanorum, and you see more of the bottom actually of this part, and you don't really see this little baby because it's hiding more towards the back. And this is a little bit more angled away from the wall, which I would have liked to sit against the wall. But it is what it is. We're gonna leave it because I'm sick of this stuff. We're gonna start planting the other plants. Yay! Also, this thing here created a nice little nook to plant another plant on.
Later.
Okay, it's all in. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna place the plants on the wall yet.
1 week later.
What I didn't realize is that a lot of the plants were struggling with low humidity. So luckily I realized it. I bought this Super Fog 2, which is currently sitting down here. You can switch it on with this. I still need to get a thermostat or whatever it's called, a high grow something, so that we can keep it at like a steady temperature, but it has helped a lot. I'm gonna switch it off for now because we don't need it while we're building. I guess we take most of the baby plants out first so that I can organize and then start planting. let's go. In the back row, I have the plants that I want to plant against the wall, like these micans. I would love it to climb up, and they are in soil, which means that I'm gonna pot them in the back of the terrarium, and then hopefully with these little pins, can you see, just bent iron wire, hopefully I can stick them onto the back wall. I recently actually got this beautiful Ficus villosa cutting from a friend that has a new growth point there. Can you see how happy this is? My previous ones all died. Whoops. The Margravias, I have two. One is a little bit more happy than the other. I just got this in from Simon, and same person as the Ficus. This is an actual Pothos, which I don't know if I can keep it alive, but it's beautiful. I'll put the name on the screen. Over here we have one Philodendron gigas that I would like to let climb up one of the poles, because they are not that fast. I think it'll be okay. And then of course a lot of the baby plants that we're gonna stick on the back as well. The Margravia is quite long, so I think I'm gonna cut it in different pieces, and then the nice little roots at the back here can grab onto anything on the back wall. So this should be easy to plant anywhere. So I'm gonna leave that for now. Time for the gigas, which I think is a much ignored plant in the houseplant community. I'm gonna plant this right next to this big pole. And then hopefully it will like to climb up there, even though it doesn't have moss on it. I'm using a piece of cut up pantyhose to tie this one against this, because it's nice and soft, and also the color is quite good. Thank you here for this tip. From the Hortus in Leiden, I know that the Ficus villosa can grow very big very quickly. So I think I'm gonna put that at the bottom as well to not have it reach the top right away. Since it is fully rooted in moss, I think it is safer to put it a little bit higher up on the wall in pure moss. This Piper is so weird. The leaves are super solid. Wait, can I zoom in? So detailed, but so cardboardy. I hope it's gonna survive. Pothos. Did I say Piper? It's a Pothos. Plants.com also kindly helped sponsor some of the plants. So these are all the baby plants that I picked from their website. I feel super lucky to have been able to do that. And there's actually some plants in here that you will not expect from me at all. Guess in the comments now which plants will be in here that you would never think to see on my channel. You might be right. Let's just open a few so you can see what we have in store. This is all made with recycled plastic, by the way, which I really like. I love a few little ferns to break up the foliage of all the anthuriums, basically, of all the aeroids. So I asked for a few ferns. This is one. There's some alocasias as well for the bottom, but I'll show you them later. There's another fern in this one. Look how cute. So those are gonna go in somewhere, probably along the back wall as well. But these two, you will not have guessed. Get your guesses in. Right? Are you ready? There are calatheas! Calatheas in my house! This might be the first time I have calatheas in my house since I killed my only one, and that was actually a Tsananti, whatever. This is one that I have wanted for years. I always thought they were so beautiful. This is the Calathea Wartsawickii, however you pronounce that. And it might not be Calathea, they've all been Grupertia or Solantes or something. I'm not an expert, obviously, but this is so pretty and it's small. So hopefully it will grow for a long time in the terrarium. And then here is a little Orbifolia, which also I thought are adorable, but I never wanted them in my house because they need high humidity and they're a little bit fussy. But maybe the terrarium will be the perfect place for them. And there's more. In here we have another little fern, which I really like, the heart leaf fern. In here is actually a really exciting one as well. You may have seen in a recent video that I completely, or on Instagram, I think I only shared it on Instagram, I killed my Frydek, Alocasia Michaelitiana Mexkowski, but they sent me a little baby, so that's gonna grow in the terrarium until it gets too big. Obviously, these do get quite big, but then I will move it into the living room because these do great in the living room as well. We also have a little Zabrina, which is always cute. I have many of these, both variegated and not variegated. And this last one also has some exciting plants. One that I always love, a little Alocasia cuprea, which I have many of and I am sending to my friends as well, all the little bulbs from my big plant. This is another plant that I have never owned before. This is an Aglionema, and I thought the pink would look really cool in the terrarium because it's so different. The patterns are so different compared to my other plants. It looks like it's a happy grower, lots of roots coming out the bottom already. Really excited to see how this looks. And then the last one is a little jewel orchid. I love jewel orchids, and this one has a beautiful red veins, and I'm excited to pot it up with a few more baby orchids. Like I have this one that I got long ago from Rogier. This is a Macotis petola. This is an Anoctoculus something, and I think they would look amazing at the bottom somewhere of the terrarium. So that's a quick look at the plants that I got from plants.com. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video. Let's go pot them up. I put the orchids in without filming because it was really confusing and I didn't know what I was doing. I just needed to use my brain and hands for doing it instead of filming it. Sorry about that. These I just tied with some metal wire, which doesn't look the best. These are little bulbophyllums that I got from a friend. And this one I just popped in there. Hopefully it's gonna grow well. This one was a little bit more tricky, but it actually looks great, I think. I removed a lot of the soil and then just popped a little bit of moss behind it, and then I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see the iron wire here. Hopefully this is gonna grow really well. Then over here, this I think looks adorable, this one as well. So the little bulbophyllum, this is just pushed in there with moss into the little crevices of this thing. This I tied up with some iron wire as well. This is a different bulbophyllum I got from someone else. And this I'm very proud of, the little Lepenthes Calodiction. I hope it's not too bright up here, but I put it at the end of the stick, so now it looks pretty and it's right in front, which I think it deserves a spot right in the front. So I'm very excited about that part. Next, I think it's time for the bottom. So all the plants that are gonna go either on the bottom. I think this can go on the wall somewhere, but I don't have much moss left. So I'm just trying to reuse any moss that I have. This is an Episcia, something like that. It's super soft and velvety. So I just try to look for different places to pop these. Like all the little wall things I've just pushed in between, which actually works quite well. And I love the way those things look as well, which are not my favorite plants, but the difference between the queen leaf and then that thing, I love the contrast. That is the word I was looking for. Peperomia, Alocasia Black Velvet is gonna go here. Begonia Cleopatriae is gonna go here. I thought I would do this one not in a closed spot so that it can be moved easily if needed. So we're gonna put that here. It's quite dry, so I need to water these after. This Peperomia is one of my favorites. Amazing leaves. This one has a bit of a different texture, so that's gonna go with the Metallicum. Then we have a little Syngonium, whoop, which is a nice different color, so that can go in here. Silver Dragon might go a little bit more on this side. Okay, wow. Literally all the plants that I had at the bottom here are in, and look how empty it is because I tried to pot them all up into the wall as much as possible and on, of course, the little woods and stuff. So I guess I need a new plant? No, I'm not going to focus on getting new plants. I'm going to try and focus on getting this situated properly. The only thing I haven't done yet is the moss. I got this little bucket of moss from Terra Ted, which is a Dutch web shop for terrariums. And this is their paludarium mix of moss. So it's all different kinds of moss. And I'm gonna put them in different places to see how they grow. Like, I don't know. See if they're happy, if they get enough light. Maybe around. I watch a lot of terrarium planting videos and paludarium planting videos, and they make it look so incredibly pretty. So something like this maybe, so that you don't see the moss, although you still see the iron wire. I'm gonna do that with all the different kinds, and then we'll see how they do, and I can order some more with the kinds that do well. I decided to put the moss in after all. It takes up too much brain power to also film and then do it. I guess once you are a little bit more experienced and you've done this several times before, you know where to film and then what to do. But for me, it's still, this is the first time I'm doing any of this. I have watched all the YouTube content I could, but yeah, keep that in mind. This is a beginner setup that I'm putting together with a lot of help from more experienced friends. I guess it's finished. Let me show you the finished product. And of course it's not fully finished because look how empty it is here at the bottom, but finished as in all the plants that I currently have are in. So this is going to be the end of this video. And hopefully in the next one I can show you a little bit more updates as well, since it will take a little time. I put a little fern up there, one of the Metallica Thailandicum or whatever it's called. And a little Epischia in here next to the Forgetti and some moss. There's a Cryptantha and one of the ferny things. There is another ferny thing right there and some moss. I put moss everywhere, so you might find bits of moss everywhere just to test out how it's going. I also put some cuttings of Pilea glauca in here because they have done amazing for me in other terrarium setups, so I just put little bits there to see how they will grow. Here you can see how cute it looks with a little bit of moss around. Just looks very different. A little orchid. Excuse my dirty hands. This also, I put some moss to hide the iron wire, which I think actually looks really cute. Moss, moss, moss with orchids, more moss. I love this little guy here because these two are some of my favorites and they just get the attention that they deserve being out front on one of the branches like that. There's more Metallica Thailandicum that's everywhere on the terrarium. Of course, the queen being accompanied now by some plants. Oh, and the wall climber is there. There's all sorts of wall climbers that you currently don't see because they're so small. This is a little ficus. I forgot the name. And there's a Selaginella here. They're all just hard to see. But hopefully once they start to grow, they're going to be a little bit more clear. Down here I potted this very cute, I forgot the name as well of this one. Sonolea, Sonolodo, I don't know. And the Pilea is here. Some moss as well. Down here is Calathea corner, a little bit darker. But look how beautiful this one is. And then some moss as well. And the Peperomia. They're a little bit dirty from watering. And the Syngonium. Here's the Begonia. Alocasia. This might get not enough light here, but we'll see. And some moss on here as well. Ah, I love you. Let's see how this is gonna climb. This is the Gigas. And I put a little baby Regale here as well, since I had it in here anyway. The other one I'm gonna keep somewhere else in case something goes wrong. In the back, we have Mycons. Here's the Pothos and a little Epischia and ferns and moss at the base of Reggie the Regale. And here's another Margravia, Monstera siltificana, Epischia, Philodendron Brantianum, Ficus villosa. And then here I put the little Macotis petola. against the wall. We'll see how that grows. And this little guy, which I got from Brandy, is growing in here. And then down here is more the big plant corner with the one Aglionema in my whole house and some alocasias. This is the Frydek, the Michaelitiana. And here is one more climber. I'm just trying to start the climbers at the bases and then see how they grow. Here's a little bit more moss. That is adorable. Okay. What do you think? Wow, I'm so excited. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will answer them there or make another video to answer your questions. I'm gonna put the doors back in and put the humidifier on so you'll get a little bit more footage of that. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Give the video a like if you haven't already, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye friends!